Okay, in this episode, we're going to talk about social bookmarking sites and why they are valuable. And actually, besides just social bookmarking sites, we're also going to talk about other platforms, one in particular that I really like called BuzzFeed, that really helps get your content out there to the widest possible audience. So what is a social bookmarking site? This is something that I think if you're new to the internet or new to internet culture, you may be less familiar with. Although chances are you've seen those icons on your desktop. The things we're talking about here are sites like Reddit, Delicios, and StumbleUpon. Those are social bookmarking sites that you can engage with to discover and find new and amazing content and set up accounts for your show where they can be discovered. The thing about these sites is that they are based on an algorithm and they're based on user engagement. So, for instance, if you just set up that site, if you set up your account on, say, for instance, Reddit, and you are posting there and you get all of your friends to like your content to go up to get to the homepage, Reddit's going to see that you're not an active user on Reddit or you're a new user. And it actually isn't going to have that much value for you instantly. So, you know, like I said in the last chapter, as thinking like a marketer, your audience doesn't need to be everywhere, but you do. That being said, you have to be strategic about where you are engaging. And these social bookmarking sites are, you know, basically, from my point of view, what makes the internet the internet. This is what makes the content that you're promoting, the content that you're putting out there. This is how you can create community. This is not television. Web video is not TV Lite. It's its own thing. It's a separate play box. Like, it's a separate sandbox. You are in there utilizing these tools and different communities to help your fans discover where you're at. And things like Reddit, Delicios, StumbleUpon are indicative of internet culture. And that is the one thing that uniquely distinguishes, putting your content online and streaming your content online versus streaming it from your television. You can interact with these communities right away. And the way that they work is when you upload something, you can either, to get to the front page where you can be more easily discovered, you can either click on the up arrow or down arrow and where it becomes more popular and quote unquote goes viral. So it's very important that you set up these accounts, or I would say if you're new to it, pick one account. Either pick Reddit or Delicios or StumbleUpon and really play in there. Make a concerted effort to engage, 2 to 3 times a week before your launch. So I would set up those accounts, like say your first episode of your show is gonna launch, at a certain time. You wanna plan out, 6 to 8 weeks before that, if not sooner, to set up all of these social media accounts and start engaging in those communities. So by the time you do launch, and you are going to be uploading your own content, after you've shared other people's content, the algorithm will recognize you in a much more favorable way, and the chances of your content, going up to the homepage will be that much better. So if you're new to this, I would pick one of those communities and engage from there. The next thing I want to talk about is, a lesser known site, in my opinion, and yet you may have heard of it before, but it's also very indicative to, online culture and the internet, and a lot of YouTubers are using this. People on the scripted side, I think, are less familiar with BuzzFeed, but people in the YouTube world have been using it for a long time to help their videos go viral. And the reason why is because BuzzFeed is very much about like the here and now. It's completely like word of mouth on crack. It's social media on crack. And it's a little harder to to get a scripted show that is based on a series to go viral on BuzzFeed. And yet at the same time, I think there's value in being discovered there. So when I worked with husbands, for instance, we actually set up a separate BuzzFeed account. You can go there now, buzzfeed.com/husbandstheseries, and we posted and embedded every episode of the show on BuzzFeed. And the reason for that was because it's another place to be discovered. There are things that you can buy for $95 called a BuzzFeed Boost, where they're guaranteeing you over 30,000 views of embedded views for your show to be discovered. So if you do have a bit of a budget, I would really recommend looking at BuzzFeed as another opportunity within which you can be discovered and, you know, create the opportunity where you could go viral. So look into BuzzFeed.com as well and pick one of those other social media bookmarking sites to engage with before, 6 to 8 weeks before you launch.